Welcome back to The Verdict. Mick Cornett with Kent Myers. Glad you're back with another show, and we bring in a guest who makes an annual appearance, sometimes more than once a year, but always comes back with a wealth of information on our health, and that's Marianne Bowman.
Yeah, Dr. Bowman is kind of the verdict's doctor, I guess, and she's back to talk to us about this year's Women's Health Forum, which bears the title Back to Basics. And she'll be telling us about what's going on this year and how it's similar and how it's dissimilar from prior Women's Health Forums in the past.
Dr. Bowman, today's guest on The Verdict. Stay with us.
What if America had its own clean energy? Abundant and available for the next century or more, and possibly indefinitely. A true 21st century energy source would cut carbon emissions in half and do every living thing a world of good. That clean American energy exists. It's natural gas, and Chesapeake is its #1 explorer. For producing clean electricity and fueling our cars without imported oil, natural gas saves money and the environment. Proving the answer to this country's energy needs is right under our feet, and we're not running out. Clean, abundant, affordable, American natural gas. Doing a world of good for our communities, our economy, and our irreplaceable planet Earth.
Wilsey, Meyer, Eatman, Tate. We're accountants. We do taxes, business valuations, estate planning, and consulting. And we're right here in Oklahoma, working with the owners of small and medium-sized businesses. Steve Wilsey and Stuart Meyer have the resources and the experience. Wilsey, Meyer, Eatman, Tate in Oklahoma City and Tulsa.
Welcome back to The Verdict. Mick Cornett with Kent Myers, and Kent's going to introduce today's guest.
Very pleased today to have back for her 9th appearance, believe it or not, 9th appearance on The Verdict, the verdict's doctor, Dr. Marianne Bowman. Dr. Bowman is the medical director of the Women's Health Center at Integris Baptist Hospital here in Oklahoma City. She did her education work in medicine and practiced in Michigan, has been at Integris since 1991, and has been involved every year in the Women's Health Forum, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. She's board certified in internal medicine. She's an author, speaker, television and radio personality as well, and we're just pleased she'd give us some more time this year. Welcome back.
Thank you so much. It's so good to be here. I always enjoy visiting with both of you.
Well, how do you make it new and fresh when you've done these health forums for 20 years or so? How do you keep it going and make it pertinent?
Well, we start in January, so we start looking at what the trends are, looking at the things that are happening, and we look at the literature, we look at the speakers, we see where the interest areas are in our own center, and that's how we pick it. And that's how we pick Back to Basics this year, and it seemed to be very timely with what has happened with our economy and everything else. Really looking at the basic things we need to do.
Mm-hmm. And what are the basic things we need to do?
Well, that's what my talk's going to be about, so I have to come in at. But we're going to be talking about basic health issues that you need to know, your cholesterol, your blood pressure. We're talking about diabetes. We're talking about how to prevent strokes. We're talking about some of the newest things in artificial limbs that will help people. And of course, we have our new cancer center starting as well. So we're going to be talking about the newest in therapy. We're connected with the Proton Center out on the northwest side of town. So So we're kind of incorporating all of those things into this year's program.
Well, let's give them a few basics of the
Yes.
forum itself. Starts when, ends when, how to enroll, all that.
It starts on September 11th. We'll have Catherine Justin, who is our mainline speaker this year, and it goes until the 26th, Saturday the 26th. And we are doing something a little different this year. We're not sending out all of the brochures. We're sending out postcards, and then if anyone wants a brochure, they can call for that, or they can register online at integrisok.com. You can register for all the sessions. You can also speak with someone who will register you if you call 951-2277. That's the Integris Health line, and they'll help you right away to do that.
You mentioned the economy. Are we seeing higher levels of stress that might reflect people in tougher financial situations that they've been to in past years?
Yes, we really are. In fact, Dr. Krishna is doing a talk about how to handle the stress of these days. Some of my back to basics will be about that too, because we are seeing, I can't speak with a patient these days. I say, how's your stress level? Oh, it's high. Work is high. Financial is high. Everyone's feeling this.
Do we just stretch ourselves too far, or what causes it?
I think the uncertainty that everybody's feeling about when do we come out of this recession, what's going to happen with the healthcare industry, what's going to happen with my insurance, all of these kinds of things are making people not only have to stretch, because as you know, workplaces have cut back on number of people, so people are doing more work, but also people are worried about what the future holds. And we've had quite a period of time in there in the 90s and early 2000s where people weren't really worrying about that aspect. Right. I think there can be some good that comes out of it. I think people can start to really pay attention to, how do I protect my health? What are the things I need to do to relieve stress? I think those are going to be positives that can come out of this. Of course, I'm told that I'm the queen of silver linings, so, so that may have something to do with it. My daughter told me that, so that may have something to do with it.
Well, you wrote a book a couple of years ago that may be even more pertinent today than perhaps it was then, although I'm sure it was well received then. Can you tell our viewers about that?
Yes, my book, Fight Fatigue, 6 Simple Steps to Maximize Your Energy, was exactly about this mind-body connection and how that mind-body emotional health affects physical health. So I think it's true, because stress levels, we're finding more and more with heart disease, with cancers, that stress levels activate the immune system, and that can lead to all kinds of health issues. The body thinks it's protecting because it's in a stressful situation, but actually a number of those things can cause harm.
Now, you personally are presenting this year of the Back to Basics, I guess. Are you doing anything else personally?
Well, yes, I'll be in the No Boys Allowed. That's the program we do at Nona's every year where, sorry gentlemen, that's the one place where we have the women come, and I'll be speaking at that. I also will be the MC of our fashion show, which is at Gaillardia this year, where we introduce new doctors who are our models. And this is kind of cool this year. Not only are we having the new women doctors, but we're having the new men doctors also be a part of our fashion show. So I get to do that. I will get to introduce our Oklahoma woman that we will talk about on the last day of the event, where we try to showcase a woman who is an unsung hero, is just doing things that everyone else may not notice, but she needs to be noticed. So those are the things that I'll be doing.
Are you finding that Oklahomans are, in general, more aware of the health issues the state faces and perhaps are placing a higher priority on their own health?
Well, I think we've become more aware, certainly through your program, through the awareness that we've had with this, with what we're doing. I think we're starting to be more aware that we're not a healthy population in terms of our weight, our exercise, our smoking, our teen pregnancy. All of these kinds of things are a problem. But I still don't see us making the huge changes that we need to make. The individual lifestyle changes. We recognize there's a problem, but we're not necessarily changing. And I'm hopeful that with the economy such as it's been, with what's happened with the whole healthcare industry, that we're looking at these changes, that we will start to focus on that more, and individuals will. It's really difficult to get people to make the lifestyle changes because we're busy and stressed, and we don't necessarily realize that making those changes will make us feel less stressed.
Do you see any light at the end of the tunnel on two areas I want to ask you about? First of all, smoking, and second, the obesity.
Yes, with the smoking, I think we're making some progress in that the taxes we're putting on cigarettes are working. We can price teenagers out of the cigarette market. And I even have a number of my adult patients who say, I can't afford the cigarettes anymore, I'm going to quit. So I think we're making some progress, but as you can see, we had to have an economic penalty in order to do that. As far as the obesity is concerned, I'm not as optimistic yet. I think our program to lose 1 million pounds has stimulated and helped, but I think it is very, very difficult for people to consistently stay on a plan, because we're one of the fast food centers in the country for testing fast foods and doing that. We eat on the run, we eat these foods. I think we have a long ways to go. Do you too, Mayor?
I do agree, and you know, cultural shifts are very, very difficult. You know, but I actually do sense there's the beginning of a cultural shift taking place in Oklahoma, and I think you made a key point in that you said you think there's a higher awareness, but getting that awareness to turn into action, you know, is the next step. And just as a person might lose weight and then start to put it back on, you know, a community's culture can go through the same thing if you don't stay on, you know, the idea that this is a priority, and we've got to, you know, keep verbalizing that message.
I think that's right, and I also think there's a little more emphasis. We're talking about more walking trails around the city. We've been talking about various public transportation. I've seen those things in the newspaper and on radio. I know you're spearheading some of those, and I think those are some of the issues to make that cultural shift, because I think if we make it easier for people to do it, then we can increase the number of people who will.
Dr. Marianne Bowman is today's guest on The Verdict. She's got the Women's Health Forum coming back to Oklahoma City, coming up September 11th is when it starts. One more segment with Dr. Bowman after this.
I'm Dr. Suzanne Van Kooten, a research hydrometeorologist at National Severe Storms Lab, and I'm a Chickasaw. There's a stewardship there, I think, that's within Native Americans and the protectionist of the land, and are we going to leave things better than when we came in, that came across in how I did my job. I had a true passion for it because I realized that this was what we had always done. We'd always been so involved with the land and taking care of the land, but also taking care of people. So that is truly the stream that you go down as a meteorologist. You want to protect lives and property. The Chickasaw Nation does an amazing job with our education programs. There are no excuses for you not to succeed as a Chickasaw in education. That's fundamental. That's fundamental to the success of the nation, is this education aspect, because knowledge literally is power.
Home values are down in some states, but not in Oklahoma. Oklahoma's home values have increased 4.2% during the past 12 months. Unlike some states where home values have decreased as much as 20%. Good thing you're in Oklahoma. There may be real estate problems in some states, but there has never been a better time than now to buy or sell a home in Oklahoma. One of the most affordable states in the country, Oklahomans are buying and selling homes every day, and an Oklahoma realtor can show you how. Good thing you're in Oklahoma.
That land next door was a mess. Take more than a lawnmower to revive that land. I heard the oil and natural gas people was cleaning up old oil sites, and it wouldn't cost us a plug nickel. Oh yes, sir, it was quite a revival. The whole church showed up, want to make a playground for the kids. It sure is a blessing.
Welcome back to the set of The Verdict. We're visiting with Dr. Marianne Bowman. The Women's Health Forum is coming back to Oklahoma City beginning on September 11th. And we're going to be giving some website information at the end of the program so people can go through and get a detailed list of the events and the topics and the speakers. But we do want to kind of touch on some of them. And I know one of the the priorities at this conference is going to be talking about the back and the spine and how important that is to overall health. Can you touch on that?
Yes, back pain is so common in men and women. Some of it's occupational, some of it for women is wearing the heels and all of that. And we have a wonderful new physical medicine doctor, Dr. Andrea Fraley, who's actually the daughter of one of our primary care doctors, Dr. G. Bob Fraley, who's been around for a long time. And she is just going to talk about how you handle your back and how you take care of it. And also she's a wonderful referral doctor for me to use when people have back pain. We also have a new neurosurgeon coming who's going to be talking about some of the marvelous things in neurosurgery so that they can be done through tiny little incisions, and it's almost an outpatient surgery instead of people having to spend 6 weeks down on their back.
Because back surgery will just scare some people into
Yes.
even going to the doctor to begin with, because they don't want to hear that.
It
news.
will,
So
but
you're saying that there's been advances in the techniques that might make it more palatable.
they do these minimally invasive surgeries where they go in and do everything through the scope, and literally it's almost an outpatient surgery. They're not in the hospital very long in their back, just like when you take the gallbladder out that way, and different surgical techniques have been amazing. And Dr. Tartaglione has come from Michigan and has moved here, and she's just a marvelous person, very interesting personality, very vivacious woman, and she's going to be speaking, yes.
You've got Catherine Justin coming. Tell us about why she was invited and what the participants will hear.
Well, she is just a wonderful role model of someone who lives the back to the basics that we've been talking about. Interesting history in that she didn't start into acting until she was in her 40s. She took a divorce and had to support herself, and so she found a way to make lemonade out of lemons. And she was the secretary of the president in West Wing. We remember her for that. And now she's on Desperate Housewives. And so she just has a very interesting story to tell us.
And you mentioned at the break that some of the physicians at Integris took a trip to Nigeria, and there's a program addressing that. Can you tell our viewers about that?
We're doing this as part of our Living the Good Life. Living the Good Life is a wonderful day. We're doing it at Gaillardia this year, and it's a wonderful day where women come and we have some talks that are uplifting. We also have a nice lunch. We have, as I mentioned, a fashion show with our new doctors. And this year, our doctors and staff who went on this mission trip were just so interested in letting everyone know what they found. For some of them, it was a life-changing event. And so we have Dr. Johnny Griggs, who is our pediatric intensivist, Avila Williams, who's the president of our new Edmond Hospital. They're going to share their experiences, and it will be very uplifting.
As some people may already be aware, proton therapy is kind of on the cutting edge of treatment for cancer, and Oklahoma City has been fortunate enough to kind of be one of the leaders, especially in cities our size. Talk about what's going on through Integris, and also how it pertains to this form.
Extremely important, because yes, we used to have to send people, the closest place was MD Anderson for the proton therapy, which is very tightly directed radiation, so you don't get all of the other problems around radiation therapy, because when they do typical radiation, they're irradiating a whole field as close as they can get to where the tumor is, but still damage around the outside. So this is a wonderful therapy. We have our new Integris Cancer Center, which is attached right to the Proton Therapy Center, and so we will be able to do the cutting edge. People can have these procedures done at home, not have to travel down to another state where they don't have the same support, where it's more expensive to be, and so we are very excited. I think we are the 6th or the 7th of the proton centers here in the whole United States, and the first one that is not attached to a medical school university setting. So it does, just like our Transplant Institute was the first that was not attached to a university, this allows us to offer the cutting edge, and it really allows Integris to be at the forefront.
We all hear heartbreaking stories of someone who's diagnosed with cancer, and boy, they didn't catch it in time. What can people do to have their cancer caught in time where there was treatment? What signs should people be aware of?
Well, cancer is such an umbrella type name for breast, colon, lung, uterine, all of these types of cancers. So the things that you should do that we know: for women, get your mammograms. For men, get your prostate screening. Get your colonoscopies. It just breaks my heart when someone has colon cancer and they said, I don't need a colonoscopy, and didn't get it a few years before, because you can avoid some of these diseases or catch them so early. If you're starting to lose weight and you're not trying, if you just have no energy, now fatigue is common, but it is a good idea to always get checked out by your doctor. If you suddenly start having changes in bowel movements, if things just are not right and you just don't feel well, it's the time to see your doctor. We can't always find everything early, but waiting is a real issue for you. So those are the things that I would do. The things you don't need: Everyone does not need a PET scan. Everyone does not need a colonoscopy beginning at age 40. Everyone does not need CAT scans of the full body. These are some of the things we see on television that one of our, sometimes somebody as wonderful as Oprah will say everyone needs to do this. But we have to consider the healthcare dollar. It's so much in the forefront of our brains right now. And some of these technologies are so expensive that they need to be done when we really have something that we're looking for. Otherwise, we will break the bank, as we are already doing.
Well, this is the Women's Health Forum, and I notice you have a program on mother and daughter body basics. That's an opportunity, I guess, for mother and daughter to come to the same program, hopefully, and share some or hear some common information.
Yes, we're doing this, and we're targeting mothers and their 11 to 14-year-old daughters, because this is such a changing time. Periods are starting, development is occurring, interest in boys, all of these kinds of things. And we have some wonderful young women doctors in Edmond, and this is a way for that community to get to know them. We're doing this at Raspberries and Cream. It's a new restaurant in Edmond, and this is a way that mothers and daughters will be able to get the information. They can be introduced to these new doctors who are family physicians and GYNs who are able to take new patients, and so we are kind of able to give them an opportunity to get questions answered in a very nice environment. This is sometimes a difficult age for mothers and daughters, having had one of daughter at that age at some time. So it brings you together in a nice setting to do that. And the nice thing is you may get a new doctor as a result.
You said something that made me think of a different question I wanted to ask you. Not all these presentations take place at Integris Baptist Hospital. They're all over the city, are they not?
Yes.
I don't want you necessarily to have to list every venue, but kind of talk about that.
Yes, this is one of our keys, because Integris is all around the city. We want the programs to be. So we are in Edmond, in Yukon, Oklahoma City, out by Gaillardia. We're in Norman, Southwest Oklahoma City. We're all over at various venues, right at Southwest Hospital as well, so that you can find a program in your area. And one of the nice things is you also can find a doctor in your area. We have over 60 primary care doctors, and in each of our clinics all around the city, somebody's taking new patients, and it's often difficult to find a doctor. And so this is something that is a service that is also offered through our programs.
And so it's September 11th. If someone has heard about this in the past but's never have come, what's your sales pitch? Why should someone come to this? Because people are busy. Why should they take time out of their lives to come to the Women's Health Forum?
I will guarantee that if you come once, you're going to come again. It's fun, it's informative. You get to see doctors in a setting that you don't always get to see, where you have your certain amount of time in the office to answer your questions. Yes, yes. And so you get to establish that rapport. You get the cutting edge information. You get basic information, and it's just fun.
Great. Dr. Marianne Bowman, thank you for coming on The Verdict.
My pleasure. Thank you for having
Thanks
me.
again.
Making her 9th visit, and always a lively and entertaining guest. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
We'll have some website information about the Women's Health Forum, and so you can make your plans to be involved. That's coming up in our last segment, which is after this break.
It's time to meet the new people in power.
The people responsible for our energy future.
It's you.
It's me, all of us together.
From now on, we're the people in power.
OG&E will supply the power.
It's how we apply the power that counts.
We've got to use electricity smarter,
Wiser.
cleaner,
Better.
So we've got to be informed,
Equipped.
prepared.
committed.
From now on.
Look, nobody wants to waste energy.
Nobody wants to build new power plants.
Nobody wants to pay more for electricity.
But nobody wants to give up their way of life.
We don't have to.
If we just use positive energy together.
I'll take advantage of off-peak hours.
That means cutting energy use from 1 to 7 every day.
Every day.
I'm going to sign up for more and more wind power.
We'll take advantage of the high-tech tools coming soon from OG&E.
OG&E can't do it alone.
It's you and OG&E working together.
Find dozens of ways you can help at OGE.com.
A positive energy future is in our power. Together.
Blankenship has stopped at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. Leaving it 4th and 7 on the Tiger 46-yard line. 38 seconds on the clock. The Tigers have no choice but to go for it. Wiggins had to do the kicking. Here's the snap. And the kick is away.
good life comes naturally to Tulsa, where nature's beauty is matched with an eye for aesthetics. A legacy of neighborhoods graced with lawns and landscaping and handsome homes. A place that seems to have patented an ideal lifestyle. Bank First is loyal to the quality of life Tulsa assures its citizens, to the priority placed on education, culture, and growth. Loyal to builders who transform raw land into residential charm. Developers who see opportunity and add vitality to Tulsa's economy. Bank First serves both enterprise and private lives that need a loyal partner. It's how we help nurture this city's very good life. Bank First. Loyal to Oklahoma. Loyal to you.
The Journal-Record is pleased to be a sponsor of The Verdict. The Journal-Record, since 1903, the best source of Oklahoma business news and legal information.
And for almost 30 years, Oklahoma political, government, and business leaders have turned to the McCarville Report for accurate, reliable, inside information. Visit the McCarville Report online. Welcome back to The Verdict. For, about 20 years now, the Women's Health Forum has been providing information and entertainment for women about health. And as we all try to raise the level of consciousness about health and how important it is in our culture and in our community. And but Dr. Marianne Bowman is a great spokesperson for this event.
Well, indeed, and there are so many varied types of events in varied locations, and you can sign up for all of them. You can sign up for just one of them. You can just kind of pick and choose, like a cafeteria line, if you will, on what you want. And there's something there for everybody.
Yeah, and most of them don't cost anything. Now, sometimes there's a meal, and sometimes that meal is not covered, and so you have to cover the cost of the meal. But they recommend, taking a friend, taking a family member, and using that word fun, which I think is so key, because people don't want to just go to a lecture if they're going to get bored to death or get yelled at. But then this is quite the opposite. This is going to be entertaining but informational on a very important topic. Let me give you some website information. First of all, the website information on the Women's Health Forum is integris-health.com. It's there on the screen, and of course our website, theverdict.tv. We'll see you next time on The Verdict.
The preceding program was produced exclusively for the Cox Channel.